All Blacks squad for the end of year tour, folks, has been named. Are there any surprises? Not really. It's pretty stable from Razor. There are no bolters. There are hardly any changes. I think the more interesting of the announcements is going to be tomorrow when they name the All Blacks 15, which will also be on tour. That's the All Blacks B team, for want of a better word. But this squad is pretty much the same as the Rugby Championship squad. They've made one change, plus there's a bunch of injury changes in terms of guys listed as unavailable. We'll go through them pretty quick because there's not that much, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. But ultimately, if you were hoping for like the return of like a Sam Derry or a Leo Willie or Fakatava or one of these guys who's been an All Black before and trying to make their way back in, Dalton Papali'i maybe, then potentially tomorrow you'll have better news. If you were looking for a bolter like Fletcher from Otago or maybe Caleb Tangitau, based on what we saw from him at like the start of the Super Rugby season, he was a potential bolter. Maybe again tomorrow is probably when you're going to have better news. One guy I feel a little bit sorry for is Kyle Preston. Obviously got his All Blacks debut when we were having a bit of a halfback injury crisis during the Rugby Championship, but he doesn't make the squad. I think he's the only guy who was named as an injury cover player who didn't end up making this squad. Like Tevita Mafileo was an injury cover player. He's still in the squad even if he hasn't played his debut yet. George Bell was a cover player for Tamaiti Williams. He's made the squad. Josh Lord was cover. He's made the squad. Leroy Carter was cover and then, got himself a few games. He's in the squad. Yeah, Preston is a bit unlucky that he's the one guy. He's missed out to Finlay Christie as the third choice halfback. But as I said, the injury list is still pretty long. Tyrell Lomax, Tubo Vai, these guys, Noah Hotham and Wani Narua, Oli Norris, Timothy Tavatanawai, Ofatunga Fasi, Asofo Almua, and Stephen Perifeta. Some of these guys are more recently injured than others, but none of those guys are available due to injury. So we are in some positions kind of pushing down the pecking order, I suppose. Who are the guys who are maybe a bit lucky? You feel like Rico could probably use a bit of a good tour. Sevu Reece also made it. I would have liked to see a bolter like a Tangitau make it ahead of him. But hey, he is still on the team. We'll see if they give him a crack on the right wing or if they retain the likes of Carter and Fainga'anuku and whatnot who finished the Rugby Championship as the starting wingers. The midfield, I'm keen to see Tupaia and Jordie Barrett get a bit more game time together. But if they chuck Leicester in there in the midfield, I wouldn't be moaning about that. Finlay Christie is certainly going to ruffle a few feathers being that guy. He's 30 years old now. There's a few younger halfbacks who have been putting their hands up, who maybe do sexier stuff than Finn Christie, but he is still the third choice guy with Hotham injured. I guess he's the fourth choice guy, but he's the third choice guy in the squad. Let's face it, whoever gets picked at halfback is well behind Cam Roigard anyway, so it's kind of much of a muchness. Josh Lord continues to find favour with the AB's selectors. Maybe likewise Samipeni, Finau as well. These guys, I don't know when they're going to get games because there's a bunch of hard games on the roster, but you feel like if they are going to experiment, it's probably going to be in the game against Wales, which is the fourth one of the tour. And yeah, the one change they really have made is Bell replacing McAllister as the third choice hooker. But again, with Taylor and Taukei'aho established as the primary hooking duo, it's not like big kind of dramas. I would like to see Ruben Love get more game time than what he's been getting. But yeah, that's the All Black squad. Tomorrow, as I said, maybe Che Fihaki and all these other guys who we have been looking forward to seeing will get named. But for now, it is a pretty stable squad. Who we got upcoming? Ireland. It's a rematch of the Chicago series, which we saw a few years ago now. So Soldier Field in Chicago, that'll be a fascinating one. That one's actually got a decent kickoff time for us New Zealanders. 2nd of November, 9 o'clock in the morning kickoff for us. That's pleasant because the other three games all suck in terms of the kickoff time for New Zealand fans. Anyway, a week later, we got the Scottish game at Murrayfield. Remember, they've never beaten us. In recent years, we've lost a few. Ireland had never beaten us not that long ago. Argentina had never beaten us that long ago. Scotland, you feel like, is that kind of next cab off the rank. They've pushed us in recent times, but yeah, how we go at Murrayfield a week after travelling across from the States will be an interesting one. They'll have looked at the Rugby Championship and, I don't know, they'll fancy their chances, man. Scotland on their day can can certainly play. That's a 4:10 a.m. kickoff time for us. Then England, which is the one I think my dad's most looking forward to because he reckons England are going to be really tough at Twickenham. Again, 4:10 a.m. kickoff. And then Wales, which, with all due respect, I mean, Wales are pretty lowly ranked in the world rankings. They're down to 12th at the moment. They've not had the greatest run. They got a new coach. They're in a bit of a rebuilding phase at the moment. If there is a game where the All Blacks coaches are going to experiment with the All Blacks squad proper, not the All Blacks 15, you feel like that is the game. That's the end of November the 23rd. Again, 4:10 a.m. kickoff. So get prepared for some early starts if you're an All Blacks fan wanting to watch the games live. Or I guess you can just turn off social media and watch them delayed. But you guys let us know your thoughts. As I said, it's a pretty long injury list. The bolters and guys who are to come back in, you feel like are going to be named tomorrow. That one is probably going to be a more interesting conversation than what is a pretty steady as she goes squad from Razor. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts. Is it too conservative? Would you like to see him change a few more positions? Or are you quite happy that he's already given chances like Leroy Carter a chance in this rugby championship gone and they've looked the business? You guys take care. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.